Hey, everybody. Welcome back, New England Raider Nation. This is your president speaking, Jeff LaFontaine, back here with some updates on the club, some news. But before we get started, I'm going to bring in a special guest tonight. If anybody saw any of the promos that I put out just prior to this, you'll see that I'm bringing in one of our lifelong members of the club, lifelong Raider fan, and friend to all in the club that know him. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Melo. What's up, brother? How you doing, Frank?
What's going on? I'm doing good, brother. How you been?
Good. How's everything down there in sunshiny Florida?
Weather's been great, man. Can't complain.
Nah. Yeah, for those that aren't aware of Frank here, he used to live up here in Rhode Island with all of us, and then he became a full-time snowbird and made the move to warmer weather for the year-round. But like myself, he's been a Raiders fan since he was a kid, just like me. So he's got that same old school mentality when it comes to the Raiders, just like I have. Again, he's been in the club. What year did you join, Frank? Do you know if...
Oof. Early 2000s, maybe. Oh, it had to be 2000 because my son was born in 2002. So basically about a year when you guys first got it kicked off.
Yeah, 04 was, because we just celebrated our 20th year this season here.
Yeah, so that could have been it because I remember Jason actually met my brother at a football game and he gave him a card, and my brother gave it to me, and that's how I got first hooked up with you guys. So, like you said, it was probably 2004 or whatever it was, but I remember my kid was, because he was born in 2002. So right from the beginning, more or less.
Yeah, right from the start. Let's see here, just real quick. What's up, Robert? How you doing, buddy? Welcome to the show tonight. Robert, feel free to ask us any questions. Frank, especially. I mean, he's extremely knowledgeable about the history of the team and the current goings on. So we're going to talk a little bit about the club here for a few minutes, and then we're going to get right into, what the current status of the wonderful organization known as the Las Vegas Raiders. So as we just discussed, we just celebrated our 20th anniversary for the club. We've gone through some major changes that we haven't had in a long time. Frank knows our former president, Jason Goff, extremely well and has been around Jason for years. So he can understand that, we've made some major changes, and on the board too. We've got some new board members this year that all take effect on January 1st. So it's like a whole new regime basically within the organization. And the big talk right now with the club is the fact that the way we're going to finish this season and the way the Patriots are going to finish the season, there's a really good chance that we're coming here to play the Patriots in New England next year. So that always means big things for the club too, as Frank can attest that, we've done tailgates and such up in the Northeast area many, many times throughout the years. So with that being said, we're going to, we've got the potential to have, a pregame party on the Saturday night before the game, and then also hosting a tailgate on that Sunday too. So Frank understands how much work goes into that and what's needed. So, I mean, you've been to a few of them. I think you were at the last one we were able to go to.
Yeah, I was at the last one. I brought my son there, and I remember it was we basically took over that hotel parking lot up.
Yeah. That was a fun day, man.
That was a fun day. So
it was a great day. I unfortunately wasn't able to go to the pregame party the night before because I was still working shifts at the firehouse, so I couldn't get that shift off. I couldn't get anybody to take my shift that night, so I missed that one. But I did go to the tailgate. So this year, keep in mind if you're going to be coming up here, Frank, for that one.
Oh no, I'm coming.
We hope you're coming up for that for sure.
Oh, for that game, I'm there. I have to.
So, I mean, that's pretty much like the big going on right now for the club next year that we got to start getting prepared for, So I look forward to seeing you again, hopefully at that, when we have that weekend come. Hopefully it's not in December, because I got a lot of friends that I've made now in California that do all the shows on YouTube with me and such, and I told them, I said, "You guys better pray to the football gods that that game is not in December or late November." I said, "Because you guys are gonna freeze your asses off." They're
Well,
like, "Oh no, we're looking forward to it."
But you know what, Jeff? I did say on one of our posts just recently when I think Jason or somebody put it out, and I said, because after that snowball game we got screwed out of, I said, I'm willing to come up in December and throw a snowball at somebody.
Well, for you, it won't be a big reach because you lived up here for how many freaking years?
I know.
For guys that are born and raised in California, that 50 or 60 degrees for them is cold. They're gonna come out here and it could be like 10 degrees.
Everybody wants a comfortable game.
Yeah, me too. I hope it's earlier in the season. I don't want to be out there in the middle of December in a blizzard.
But if it is, I'm ready.
So let's get into Raider talk itself. So, yeah, we won this past week, and we're on a winning streak, I guess you could say. We've won 2 games. Based on what I've read today, or seen the last couple of days now with the Chargers, because they've already got their playoff spots sewn up. They really can't move in the rankings much. I'm hearing rumors that they might sit their starters also. So there's a good chance we could go on a 3-game winning streak before the end of the season.
We could.
What do you think?
Well, yeah, definitely. And I wish they had something to play for, because I actually want to play against their stars, because right now, listen, 70% of our team almost is backups right now, looking to, see what they can, give to the team for next year, honestly. And even we probably have, I don't know, a dozen unrestricted free agents next year who are still trying to say...
It's over 20.
Yeah,
it's over 20
it's a big
free
number.
agents.
But
it is huge.
There's like 6 that I want to keep, so I mean, they are... I want to see what they have against a team who has something to play for. So I haven't looked at it carefully, but someone had mentioned, or I read something, if based on the seedings, the Chargers could possibly move up 1 if Pittsburgh loses and they win. So it depends how the NFL plays these games, because I think they're going to do that for a lot of the teams who have playoff chances. They're going to put the other games first to see to make it interesting, let's put it that way,
yeah.
Right? So, but I would love to play a full-on Chargers squad for the simple reason that I want to see Pierce as a coach, what he's going to do with the players. I want to see our players. What, Epps is gone, so Palomar, what's he going to give us? Are we going to cut ties and keep him? I want these young defensive linemen who are really filling. I love Adam Butler. Jason he just got his 5th sack. So, I mean, we have some guys who are trying to. Kuntz is going to be unrestricted free agent. I know he gave us a good year last year. So, what's his market value for next year? Because if we had a solid defensive line, you bring back Crosby, Wilkins, maybe you fit in Adam Butler. And, Tyree Wilson, unfortunately, just hasn't been working out for us. I mean, we've drafted some, guy that just, it's been a tough few years. We've had some good hits, but so I want to see the young offensive line. I want to see Jackson Powers. I want to see Glaze at right tackle. I want to see what these guys bring, because the offensive line, especially beginning of the year, was just a total train wreck. Regardless of who had a quarterback, nobody was running. I mean, you couldn't. They weren't overpowering anybody. I mean, but we did have a lot of people who shifted and moved, and so we have some young pieces. I need to see, and I think the team, obviously the coach and staff and the owner, wants to see who we need to bring back and who we cut ties with. We're probably going to have about $110 million in cap. So free agent signings are not to all be, we want to do it through the draft, and I get it, but you do have to fill holes through free. You're going to lose some. You got to grab some. That's just the way the game is played today. But I want to see what we have right now. So next year, when we go back to the drawing board, who are we keeping, who are we signing, and what pieces do we need to go through the draft, free agency, and hopefully, if that team stays healthy, it's got a lot of good pieces. I know there's, obviously we have weaknesses, that we have to just like every team, and we weren't the only team that had injuries this year, and I get that. I mean, it's been rampant throughout the league. But we did lose some really core pieces. They had to shut down Crosby, which obviously was, I'm sure he wanted to play, but they were like, hey, buddy.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
We need you healthy for next year. There's nothing to play for. That guy has a motor. He doesn't care about injuries and that kind of thing. So, but yes, so I would love to face a Chargers team who has something to play for, because that would give our team a little better look at what we have. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly wish that this game came down to, if they win, they're in, and then we get the chance to play spoiler. I love doing that.
Oh God, me too.
Just like that year that we played them, and it was whoever won the game between us and the Chargers was going in the playoffs, and I mean, it showed all signs that we were looking to go with the tie, which was happening.
Yeah.
And then they just pulled that shitty move. So then that's when we were like, you know what? Screw you. We're going for the win, and we knocked them out.
Instead of grabbing the tie and coming into the playoffs, Staley, I know we've had some tough coaches lately. It's been tough. Staley, though, for the Chargers was garbage. Talk about a hindrance to that team. I wouldn't let that guy coach a Pop Warner team. So, I mean, it's given. You see what Jim Harbaugh has brought in, and I don't like to talk about the other teams, but if we're being honest here, they lost Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, the running back. I mean, a lot of pieces. When you have a coach who can bring stability, and that's, I don't know, Antonio Pierce is still learning on the job. And at one point, learning on the job as a head coach of a professional football team worth now $7 billion really doesn't cut it. So I don't know where his stock is for next year. And, and they brought in Marvin Lewis, who's a veteran, to kind of whisper in his ear and keep it. I don't know if he was whispering enough this year, because, still bad timeouts, bad game management,
we got a lot of former head coaches on this team.
Right. So
there's a lot of former head coaches.
It was, and then, we already knew the offensive coordinator was like a retread from Chicago, because we really wanted Kingsbury, and then somehow that fell through because we wouldn't give him a third year or something to that effect. So we got this bum, and he came in, and he was that offense. I mean, horrible. He was complete and utter bum. At the end of the day, the head coach, as in any sport, hey, look, that's where the buck stops, Yep. But can we really go through another head coach? Where's the consistency?
All right, so let me ask you this then. What's your feeling on AP? Do you think he survives this season, or do you think it's time to cut ties and bring someone else in?
So, actually, I was talking about this with my son today, because he's a huge Raider fan, and we talk all the time. And granted, it's not like we're killing good teams right now, these last two games, whatever. But if he plays the Chargers really solid, he might not even have to win, but he's got to show that we have something. There's probably a 70 to 80% chance he comes back next year, because, again, I think Davis is thinking, holy crap, how many ex-coaches can I pay? And where's the continuity? And, the players love him, which is fine. But you still have to be a good head coach. There's a lot of guys who just, that's not what they're built for. They're built for a position coach or that kind of thing. So he's had a year and a half to learn on the job. And I don't know, this is going to be a Mark Davis thing. I truly don't know. I think it's almost a coin flip whether he comes back or not, honestly.
I kind of agree. I mean, I'm not going to be upset if we keep him and give him another year. It's going to be all the other coaches around him, what they do.
Right.
I've already heard rumors that they supposedly offered Patrick Graham an extension earlier this season, and he's turned it down. Which, if that is for real, then that means we're already going to be looking for a new defensive coordinator, because he was the one I don't want to lose, because I like what he's done. I like what he's done with this defense with all the holes and injuries he's had. He's done a heck of a job with that.
Defense. We don't want to lose Patrick Graham, so I'll lose AP before I lose Patrick Graham. You can't.
Yeah.
He's built a continuity on that D. Every year he's improved just a little bit. Even with the injuries, you've seen he's brought in these guys that I'm like, who's that guy? Who's this guy? And they've been able to fill gaps, and I'm like, oh, okay, because his scheme, blitz. I love that. And I was worried this last game. I was like, where's the blitz that I'm normally used to seeing? Why is Spencer Rattler getting all this time against New Orleans? And then once Patrick Graham broke out that patent blitz where Morin comes from here or Spillane goes up the middle, the pressure, you got to be schematic about how you do it. And he has done it for us, okay? So
I think it was just earlier in the season, he just didn't have the right personnel because of the injuries. Until some of these guys get up to speed, it was kind of tough to do that with who was on the defense starting.
Look, we lost Kuntz right off the bat.
Yeah.
Within 5 games, our star free agent signing Wilkins is out.
Yeah, I know. Right.
Marcus Epps gone after I don't know how many games. Jacoby Bennett, who was actually looking good at corner.
Yeah, I liked him too.
You know what? He was actually looking good at what he was doing. But now you got to bring it. So we were dropping. Bad, yeah. We brought in a bunch of guys, right? So,
Chason's been a godsend.
Yeah,
Chason. He's a must re-sign
from left and right. I mean, like I said, 5 sacks in the amount of time he's played is not nothing. It's amazing. It's really it's good. And Butler, I mean, the guy that's also brought a lot. Jenkins is that other guy that he just he's that veteran, but Adam Butler has brought so much. He's been pressure up the middle. He's been filling that gap. I really like him. And again, for a low contract, we have, you keep him. So those guys you have to keep so you can go out and get a wide receiver 1 with, you're going to have to expend some money unless you get him in the draft. Because as much as I love Jacoby Myers, and I think he's fantastic, he's a great wide receiver too. Brock Bowers is just a stud. We all know that, the tight end. But he's the 2. Trey Tucker has that learning curve with the speed, and his hands still have to get better. Too. Drop the ball, right? So I mean, and then he made up for it later on in the game. But at the end of the day, you need that wide receiver 1. They don't come cheap anymore. Those wide receivers back in, now it's running backs that they kind of boom, boom, boom. But wide receivers no longer. Now they're $30 million guys.
Yeah.
Which is,
well, it's like the big talk is a lot of people want us to try and bring in Higgins. I'm not a fan of bringing Higgins in because of the amount of money he's going to want.
The amount of money. I can't pay him.
Injuries issues,
No.
I'd rather get somebody a little on the cheaper that I think is a better receiver, and that's Godwin from Tampa Bay.
Pay Higgins $50 million a year. I don't give it, He's not Jamar Chase. He's not, Lamb. He's not any of those guys. No, he's a really, really good wide receiver. Okay, he's good. He's not $30 million good. No. And the kind of money he was asking, that's crazy. Dude, no, you're not. You're just. That's not who he is. Now he's got that big game this past week. Great, that's fine, but absolutely not. We can't chase that kind and give that kind of money to a guy like that.
Nah.
Injuries, and he's still not elite. No, that's out of the question.
The other thing too with this draft is this is a heavy wide receiver and running back draft.
Yep.
So you don't need to make that pull. You don't need to pull the trigger and grab one in the first round. I mean, if you want the best of the best in the first round, wide receiver and running back, okay. But is Genty really the best? Because he's obviously going to be the first running back taken. I'm not sold on him because my biggest worry is he's already going to come with a ton of miles on his body, just how much he ran in college. But wide receivers, there's a lot of them in this draft. So let me just post this question here from Robert. So it looks like we're not drafting a QB in the first round. Who do you all want to draft? Me personally, I think we got to go with either best player available or trade back for more picks and move back into this first round a little bit further, maybe into the top 15 instead of the top 10, and get another pick later in the draft, like in the second or third round. What do you think?
Listen, no, I'm with you. Look, it worked last year, and I knew a lot of people were like, Brock Bowers. And I even had people come up to me and I said, listen, Brock Bowers was the best player available. All the quarterbacks went. Okay? All the real name quarterbacks went. So at that point, we picked best player. This guy was a top 5 pick no matter what,
Oh, God,
it just happened that it was really quarterback heavy draft last year.
Yeah.
Period. Okay? So when we took him, I know we drafted May of the year before, and people were like, hey, I have so many friends. I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm like, this kid could have came out as a freshman in college and been a legit tight end. He was that good. He was, that thought about,
Yep.
He was no joke. So at the end, and look, it worked out. Even with our quarterback play, this guy still. Can you imagine a top 5 quarterback come to him, where his numbers would be? A guy who could put the ball to him wherever he's on the field? Please. This kid would be, legit psycho, and he's already ridiculous. So I'm with you on, honestly, you got to pick best play available. Hopefully it fits our needs. You know what I mean? It's sometimes our need was not tight end last year, and I get it, right? Technically it wasn't, but you can't let a Brock Bowers go. So we had to pick him. Same with this year. So if a guy comes up and that need fits somewhere, hey, look, maybe in a year or two, he's really going to be important to us. He may not be as important right now, but best player available, or like you said, drop down a few, still get the guy you kind of need for the position you want, and pick up some draft capital. That's all, and
yep.
We already have, I forget how many picks in the first 3 or 4 rounds. So if we can add some more, because now we're out of whatever, everybody's got the arms race going on, but I'm with you. I don't know if Walter Sanders is going to be legit quarterbacks. I don't know. Maybe we pick Dylan later on if he's there, or they're talking about Carson back, whatever.
That's a question Arnie just asked. Milroe or Gabriel in the second round?
Yeah,
so if you were to pick out of those two, who do you think you would go for?
Gabriel. I think I would get for simply, he's bouncing around like all quarterbacks, first of all, bounce around now, especially when the COVID thing. Everyone's in college 5 to 6 years, right? So I just think he has a better command of the game. Milroe's definitely more exciting if that's, what we're looking for. The guy who can run, all that stuff. The other dude's more of a pocket passer, still can run. People question Bo Nix. And I said, listen, I saw him with Oregon. Yes, their schematic system where you're going to get 70% pass completion. But you still have to make those passes. And he was still able to run, and he's doing it with Denver now. So he's got over 300 yards rushing and, 3,000 yards and all this other crap with, quite honestly, not a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know
it's
if
a little slim.
3 receivers in Denver, right? So, Bolton Sullivan and who, right? So, and he's coming from the same system, Gabriel. So, it's what are we looking for? Are we looking for a little more pocket / accuracy? Or are we looking for a guy who might break an electric play down the field for 100 yards? Now, Milroe can do that, but I don't know. That's I
think
question.
Out of the two, I think Gabriel is definitely the more pro-ready and the safer pick of the two.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been in the Ward or Sanders corner since day one, and primarily because Dion said it, Brady's already said it, that either one of those two that they draft, specifically Sanders, they're going to sit for a year. So you're going to take your number one. If we ended up with the number one pick,
right,
you're going to take first pick in the draft and you're going to grab a guy that's not even going to have an impact on your team on the field next season at all, that, in my eyes, that's a wasted pick, wasted value
right.
pick.
Sure.
You know, because you're already committing that he's not starting unless absolutely necessary. So that means we're either going into the season with AOC 12 or we're bringing in another veteran, which I don't agree with. I don't think we need to.
No, we can't just keep bringing them. Not right.
No,
I don't either.
no, you stick with AOC 12. You decide what you want to do with your backup, with what's in the locker room right now. You bring in another rookie. But anyway, there was no reason why we should have picked him. That's why I wanted us to take Travis Hunter. I want a guy that I can plug into that lineup right now.
Oh God, yeah.
From day one and have an impact on
Travis
that team.
Hunter's a beast, for sure.
Of course he is.
Yeah,
you know, that's why I was never in favor of either one of those quarterbacks.
But we talked about AOC on the sideline, you and I, you know, and also in post. But since Scott Turner, and to his credit, he's made AOC have to get comfortable moving in the pocket, extending some plays. Now you see, before last year, like I said, he was a statue. He, you know. So Scott Turner's like, hey, listen, our line is not the greatest right now, so you need to move. Like, get out of the way, get the ball out of your hands in 2.5 seconds. You can't hang on to it. If that play's not down the field, you got that first read, second read tops. Don't even think about third read. Get rid of the ball, period. That's all to it. And I think AOC's got that down. And with more training next year, training camp, some preseason under his belt, a little more experience, a little more confidence, he could be either a good quarterback or a bridge quarterback. And I hate using a bridge quarterback because everybody says that means we have another. Yeah. Not necessarily. If all the other pieces fall into place, our D stays relatively healthy without losing guys for the year, you know, basically the entire defensive line and all the guys. But I mean, you literally can do it. You just have to bring in a couple of pieces to help manage that. So, and we'll see. But I mean, I'm not opposed to giving him an opportunity. I'm really not.
I'm trying to think of where I was going to go with that. I got a question for you. This has been coming up more and more now since I guess Max Crosby made some comments in the past week or so. What would be your feeling if we traded him away before
Max
the draft?
Crosby?
Yeah.
Oh, no. That can't happen. I would die. No way. No, he's a heart and soul. This guy brings too much to the team between his work ethic and what he brings on the field, what he brings in enthusiasm, everything. He's like the real deal. Absolutely not. They better not. I don't even want to hear it. That package better be the biggest package I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I don't want to hear it. You can't get rid of a guy who's willing to play her, who's willing, even last year. He had a picture of his leg where they were draining his knee constantly before every game. He was still out there doing everything. Tackles for a loss. He's been, since he came in the league, he's got the most tackles for a loss of any player. Think about that for a second. They talk about all these great guys, and they are, right? You got the Myles Garretts, you got P.J. Watt, you got all these, right? Tackles for a loss. Since Max Crosby's come in the league, he's led. Okay, so are you kidding me? No. And he's the heart and soul. He brings it every game. He doesn't take a play off. He doesn't even want to sit. I don't want to hear that. We're not getting rid of that guy.
Right. I'm going to throw some monkey wrenches into this for you then.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. He's never had 15 sacks in the season since he's been with the team. Okay.
Yep.
Would you rather have a defensive front line and ends that are getting on average a piece 10 to 12 sacks a season as a collective unit? You know, like say Kuntz is getting 10 and someone else playing in Max's spot's getting you 10. Wilkins is getting you X amount.
Yep.
and combined, they're doing better than what Max would be as one person. Would you still want to keep him?
Well, yeah. See, this is, and yes, and I'll tell you why. Because we haven't seen that. So this is the first year that we would have seen Max, Wilkins, Kuntz, and whoever else they decided, whether it's Butler or Jenkins or anybody, whoever they wanted to fill that gap. We didn't get to see it. So Max doesn't just, all right, yes, he hasn't got the 15 sacks, but he brings pressure, disrupts plays. He's in the backfield for tackles for loss. He's defending passes with his wingspan. I mean, the things he brings, those intangibles that you just can't, say, hey, look, yeah, he actually would. Kuntz got 8 sacks last year for a reason.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, man.
Yes, because they were double teaming Max, and they were letting him scot free.
Why do you think he runs from side? So this year they had him running from they had him stunting. He was doing anything in his power to get back there and cause havoc because our line was decimated. We were, so I mean, at one point you'd see him lined up left, lined up on the right side, stunted. I mean, no, he brings too much, and I would not be comfortable with him going anywhere. Period. That's a line I'm not willing to cross.
I made a comment on a podcast the other night that when we were on this topic with the whole Max thing, and I said I'll tell you what, if that phone at Intermountain Sports Center or whatever someone calls and says, hey, what do you want for Max? And I'm Telesco, I'm sitting there going, I'm listening. What are you offering? And if the deal is too good to pass up, guess what? If I'm Telesco, I'm letting Max go.
It's got to be a huge deal.
Well, I'm talking like first round pick this year, first round pick next year, possibly a second round pick next year also. I would seriously contemplate that because you got to look at this. He's been in the league now. What? This is his 7th year, right? 7th year in the league or something like that, or close to it. I forget the exact numbers.
I don't know if he came in 2019. So honestly,
all right. So then it's 5 or 6 then.
I don't know. But
he's constant. The injuries are piling up on him. How long is he going to be willing?
Really miss games. This is like.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. But again, how long is he going to be patient enough to sit around and wait? Plus, his guaranteed money is out. He's got 2 years left on his contract right now. He's got no more guaranteed money coming. So whatever's the rest of his contract is all he's getting.
Yeah.
Unless he restructures, but I don't see him doing that either. So his best chance because he's in the time of his big payday.
Oh, there's no doubt.
So this is a chance for him to get traded, rework a contract, make some big money, then come back to us when that contract's up. Say they sign him to a 3 or 4 year deal. By the time he comes back to us, because he wants to retire with us, we could be in a position where we're ready to win one now. We just need you as the final piece of the puzzle. You come back and we've got this sold,
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not against trading
feels
away
like the whole
if it's for the right price.
And I'm not, no. And I honestly, I'm not, that still wouldn't satisfy me one and one. And I know a lot of people saying that's a lot, but it depends. If you give them up to a team and your 2-1 draft picks each year, a 28 and 28 pick in the first round, you don't get guys like Max Crosby every day. I mean, those guys.
No. And in the 4th round on top of that, too.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, look, I am a huge fan of him. I love his work ethic. I love his team spirit, what he brings. No, I mean, I'm like I said, that package has to be, I got to listen. It's got to be something that I don't think teams want to give up because I like and respect that guy that much. So
yeah,
he's the soul of that team. And when you have a guy who has that much passion for your team, you don't want to let him go, man. I mean, the guy who's in there at 5 a.m. and leaves at 10 at night, and like all he thinks about is Raiders and winning, and
Yeah.
No,
I mean, unfortunately, we've already done that once, and when we let Carr go, we did him dirty, the way that we let him go. But
yeah,
that's water under the bridge at this point with him, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the thing is with Carr, and people see me post and they think I don't like the guy, and it's totally wrong. I love Carr. I like the guy. I think he was a good quarterback. I think his time, unfortunately, ran its course. So, at the end of the day, certain quarterbacks bring intangibles. In Carr, at one point, yes, he was afraid to make moves because the defense might not be able to get him back into the game and do this and that. But he also started to be afraid to move out of the pocket, get those extra yards where he had the legs to do it. And that always infuriated me. I was like, hey, guy, get out there. There's 10 yards in front of you. You can run. And then when he tried, he had two of the same damn plays where he fumbled into the back of the end zone, doing the same damn thing. And I'm like, hey, buddy, come on, you're a professional. What the hell's going on?
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing we screwed Carr in, and we failed him as a team, was we never brought in competition to make him play better. You know what I mean? We never brought someone in to compete with him, like a rookie, to compete and make him up his game a little bit. He was comfortable where he was and never really further excelled. I mean, he had a couple of really, really good seasons where it was like a 4,000-yard season or whatever, but he never excelled beyond that. So we didn't do him any favors as an organization bringing in competition. Nor did we give him any stability at offensive coordinators, head coaches, receivers.
When they sent him to New Orleans, everybody was like, okay, Carr's in New Orleans, he's gonna, and they went 9-8, and they were 5-5 in his his 10 starts this year. Again, a lot of injuries on the team, just like everybody else. But at the end of the day, the quarterback runs that team, man. A lot of people want to say, hey, well, you don't have a defense. Shit, Patrick Mahomes lost a shit ton of players this year. Hollywood Brown right from the get-go, and this guy and that guy. Everybody said when Tyreek Hill left, what are you going to do? Great quarterbacks win games, period. Lamar Jackson, this is what I'm saying. And obviously Carr
having a good defense helps too, though.
No, it does. But if you're Josh Allen, you can do things that Carr can't. If you're Lamar Jackson, you can do things that Carr can't. If you're Joe Burrow, you can do things that Patrick Mahomes. You can't be the 7th best guy in your conference. You can't be the 3rd best quarterback in the division and expect your team, regardless of defense and whatever, to do what they're supposed to do. I like him. I think he was a really, really good quarterback. He just sometimes made some mistakes that, he shouldn't have, and that great quarterbacks don't. And that's the definition between, all right, when do you part ways with the guy? At what point do you get so upset that, you're letting him down and he's letting you down? So, it's like a divorce, right? So
thanks, Barney.
That's what happens. So, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, that's what happened. It was like a divorce. So they both came to a conclusion and said, we had some coaching, and I get it. But at the end of the day, they said, okay, we're still not winning. We brought in Devontae. We did this for you.
Well, that's what killed me. We brought Devontae in for him, and then they get rid of him by the end of the same season. It's like, are you shitting me?
I mean, I think the writing was on the wall. This is and it comes down to money too, because he had another year where if we kept him, it would have been this much more money to keep him. Well, and teams start saying, hey, look, we're going to build cap now because we're not sure this guy, regardless of the situation, can overcome a Mahomes, can overcome a Josh Allen and a Lamar Jackson and a Burrow. I don't think, regardless of what we put behind him, I don't think he's going to be able to get us over that, threshold that we need. So do we keep him and pay him another $36 million, whatever the contract was for the year if we kept him, or the the team option. And they said, hey, look, no. And they came to the conclusion, I hate to see the guy go, but at the same time, I'm saying, hey, look, I think for him and the team, it was probably the best thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's how
there's a question I've been asked recently, and I love answering this one because it takes people by surprise when I give them an answer. Like, if you AP with another full year under his belt, how do you think he'll do in the NFL against other teams? And I'm like, forget the NFL. I said, you got to look at the division first.
Yeah.
I said, you're playing in a division with 3 awesome head coaches, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due. You've got Andy Reid, you've got Jim Harbaugh, and you got Sean Payton.
Yeah.
And then you've got you got those 3 coaches. Then you got those 3 quarterbacks. You got Herbert. Yeah. You've got Bo Nix as a rookie who's coming on, and you got Patrick Mahomes. Forget the rest of the NFL. If you can't do damage in your own division, and it doesn't matter what the hell you do in the rest of the NFL, because if you can't win any one of those games, forget it. Because now you're 0-6, just in the division alone. If you can't beat them,
let me try to bring a little light in it.
You're sitting in the dark and watching the sun go down behind you as it gets lighter.
I was, man. It was nice.
So it's like, it doesn't matter what he does against the rest of the NFL. No. He's got to worry about his division first.
And that's what
who cares about the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots and all the other crap out there? If you can't even be competitive in your own division, your season's a wash. Because if you can't move up in your division itself, you're fucked.
Listen,
let's look at Arnie's question here. What free agents would you like us to sign next year? What do you think of free agents?
Okay, this is what I'll say. But it has to be for the right price. Like I talked about, if we can't get something in the draft as a wide receiver 1, I would look at options. I don't know who's available next year, to be totally honest, outside of T. Higgins, but for wide receiver 1, we need more help at cornerback. Hobbs is also an unrestricted free agent that I'd like to bring back. I know he's had some injuries, but as that slot corner, he's one of the best. The guy plays his man. You don't even hear him some games, and he makes tackles. But we got some rookies there, young guys who are learning. Jack Jones is a gambler, and our depth is terrible at cornerback. So free agents, wide receiver, cornerback, O-line help. You can always use D-line help, but I mean, those to me, again, are where we should be spending our money in draft capital.
I'm kind of in the same side as you on this. There's offensive guards out there that we could definitely take a look at for free agents. I want to bring a running back in, and I know the popular one for the spot is Chubb. That's not who I want. I want Najee Harris. That's who I want. You bring in Najee, you keep McCormick because he definitely showed signs that he can be something.
And he's low money.
And then you draft a rookie.
$100,000 or something. You know what I mean?
And then you draft a rookie. So now you have Najee as your number 1 running back, and then you have a rookie, and you have McCormick being groomed behind him. That's your you sign him for a 2-year deal. Get him for 2 years, and within those 2 years, if your rookie and McCormick is not ready to take over on a permanent full-time basis, then I don't know what to tell you. Then obviously you're gonna have to go a different route. But that is my feeling on the running game. Offensive lineman for sure. And which is why my first draft pick, if we do end up picking where we end up, if that cornerback from Michigan is there, I would love to grab that kid.
Yeah, I know he's hurt, but he's a big.
That's who I'm looking at right now. I'm saying we address the defense on the draft side.
Listen, you can never have enough depth, first of all, at cornerback. Okay, you just can't, honestly, because those guys, everyone's throwing 4 or 5 receivers at you now. So I mean, you can't have enough cornerbacks out there, honestly. And then
our depth was horrible this year just because of the injuries alone. So that's why we had no depth, because all the depth we had is on the field right now playing because we have no choice.
Right.
which is why we took a flyer on a guy like Chase on, and he worked out unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Godwin, Arnie, I said that earlier too. Godwin is definitely a wide receiver I would like to see us try and go after.
Yeah. No, if you can get, and I mean, he's got some miles on him too, but if you can get guys like him on a fair contract, I'm not trying to rob the guy, right?
No.
Yes.
But at the same time, draft a rookie wide receiver. So now you've got a rookie working with Godwin and Jacoby Myers to get him up to speed. So now you've got a multi-headed threat here, because now you've got these 3 wide receivers. You got Brock Bowers, you got Michael Mayer. You've got your Najee Harris at running back. You've got a rookie running back. You've got your offensive guards set, because I mean you're all set at right tackle with Glaze. Left tackle, if Colton Miller stays with us and is healthy next year, you got him. JPJ back to
I like Powers Jackson. I love the way
that kid's unbelievable. That kid's he's a big fatty center right after my own heart. I mean that's a position I played in high school and semi-pro, and I love watching him play.
He finished every play right to that button. Even after so I mean,
if it's a long play down the field, he's still one of the first guys on at the spot to lift the guy up off the field.
I'd like to see a little more from him. And I don't know how much more you get out of
I want Parham gone. I've been hard on him all season. I cannot watch a game without keying in on him every single snap. And every time I watch him, I just get sick to my stomach.
They tried that kid Meredith,
he wasn't bad.
Right.
I'd rather have him out there than Parham.
Yeah. No, he needs some seasoning. So I mean, that's a position of need, right? Guard. Like I said, Glaze started off, but watching him in Mumford, you could tell Glaze was already going to be better. So
yeah. Oh God, yeah. I mean, if you look at the draft that Telesco had, I mean, and I've said this before on another show, if you go back and with our past history of GMs that we've had in regimes, if they would have still been in charge in drafting our class last year in 2024's draft, we wouldn't have Bowers on our team right now. We would have reached for a quarterback. Damn well 100%. Know we would have reached for a shitty-ass quarterback. I knew what we were getting with Bowers. All you had to do was watch one game from Georgia last year, and you knew what Bowers was going to be.
He was sick.
And if you still weren't sold, watch the second game. And if you're not hooked by the second game that kid played, then forget it. There's no pleasing you.
Listen, you don't know football if you didn't realize that kid was.
Yeah, I mean, the kid was a definite, like you said earlier, he was a top 5 pick. It's just that he came out in a year where so many teams needed quarterbacks, and there were so many quarterbacks available. That's why I couldn't believe he was there at number 13. And I'm glad that we took him.
And look at him. I see a question there. Blaine Mooring, for sure. I want to keep both of those guys, by the way. Which free agents would you keep on our team?
Add Chase onto that too.
But I would definitely like to bring Hobbs back. I know he's been injured a couple of times, but look, I still think he's one of the best slot corners. And as a slot corner, you could probably get a reasonable contract with him. That's not going to break the bank.
Yeah.
If you can. If he's asking too much, well, you let him go, right? But that guy, I want to bring back. What was it? I had another one that I just saw. I didn't realize he was going to be unrestricted. Kuntz. Okay, so Kuntz, I know he. All right.
We're just hoping he comes back in the same situation with the same.
Correct. So he's unrestricted. I would like, based on what I saw last year. Okay. Yeah.
As long as he comes back okay from that injury.
Right. He's got to be right. His injuries. He's got to be clean, bill of health, and again, he's got to understand. He gave us one good season, which was 8 sacks, not 15. All right, and so his numbers have to line up too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, these guys can't go out and start coming back with ridiculous numbers, because I don't care how much money we have in cap.
Yeah.
We can't. You don't just give it away. Again, like to a guy like T. Higgins, who, no, I'm not giving you $30 million. Godwin, I want to know what his number is. So I mean, I want to know what these guys. But our own players for sure: Splain, Mooring, Hobbs, Kuntz. those are the guys I see that I want to make sure come back.
Well, Kuntz right now, his current contract is 1.2 mil.
Yep.
So we should be able to get him back for probably a little bit more than that. I'm sure he's going to want some more. But
he will. Yeah.
How much more? Probably not much more.
That's my point. So if
you're still going to get him on the cheap versus like Khalil Mack's 20 mil. Forget that.
Come back with a clean number. We're good. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Let's roll him back. You know what I mean? And the problem is, so you see flashes of Tyree Wilson now and again. And I mean, we drafted a guy with I think the 7th pick, and I think Peggy Holmes said this, best one day. She goes, over the last 5 years, we've drafted guys right out of the MASH squad. Like they came to us already injured. We got to wait a year to see. Then this guy had a foot.
We look like a MASH unit this year.
Back with a heart thing, like.
These players are walking around with triage tags on them.
Yeah, come on. Look, so let's be realistic. Let's stop drafting guys like that and hoping they work out and that kind of shit. How about we just draft healthy dudes who can, we know they're going to do their thing, that kind of thing. So
I mean, earlier in the season, every game was like a MASH casualty experiment out there. It's like, good God, who's got the green tag? Who's got the red? Who's got the black?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, but
I like Wilson, this. I like this one here from Jay from Just Raiders Baby.
280, I don't know, but the guy could never get off the line, and every once in a while he makes that splash play, and you go, "Oh, I see it," But you need to see it consistently from a 7th pick, I mean,
oh God, yeah.
For Christ's sakes, Max Crosby's a 4th round. This guy's 7th pick an entire football draft. I need to see a little more. It's just like when we draft Arden Key, and I said, at number 4, Arden Key, there's 2 other dudes on his line that's better than him. And we just signed one of them, for Christ's sakes. But I mean...
Then you look at where we got Tyree, and then you look at who was taken at number 10 and Carter from Philly.
It's an embarrassing situation. I mean,
like, are you kidding me?
I go back.
I mean, he's gotten better this season. I will give him that.
All these guys, and I said, "What the hell are we doing?" Leatherwood.
Yeah.
I said, Arnett. I'm like, who the hell thought that this is a good idea? And I know Mel Kiper and a couple of those guys exaggerate because they always think they're the smartest guys in the room. Gruden, when he was, doing his thing, he always thought he was the smartest guy in the room. But they were right on those. Talk about an overreach. You know what I mean? It's like, what?
Which is what we've done for years.
Possibly 3rd round pick. He was
Yep. And the other thing, too, is when was the last time any of our GMs hit on 3 picks in a row? We hit on the first pick with Bowers. We hit on the 2nd pick with JPJ, and then Glaze in the 3rd round. It's like, are you shitting me? So our first 3 picks in this year's draft are all starters and all worthy starters. Of playing with us on a regular basis. It's like, good God,
absolutely.
you can't beat that. That's an incredible stat right
and
there.
They picked up some
percentages alone are
free agent signings who came over and helped us during this injury crisis. So I mean, no, I'll give Telesco credit for that, and I think what he's been trying to do, and I know for a fact, Pierce wanted to reach for Jane Daniels or somebody big and give up the house. And Telesco was like, whoa, let's hold on, man. Like, we gotta study this. Let's because honestly, building through the draft, we all know is the best way to go. But if you don't hit, you're screwed, right? Because if you just go out and get free agents every single year to fill all your needs, and they don't hit, they want more money. We've seen it from Devontae to everybody. I mean, if it doesn't happen, you just gave out a whole lot of money, so building through the draft as you can is the best way to go. So we'll see.
Which is why that's why I've been pushing for, accumulate draft picks as much as you can. The more draft equity we have, the more bodies we're bringing in for training camp, the more competition we're promoting. The more free agents we can bring in and try them out too, and anything we can to get more bodies in the door to build our depth back up, because our depth is horrible, and it's going to take us a while to build it up, and you're not going to get it done in one season.
No.
Because you can only keep so many, and then the ones you don't keep and put on your practice squad, they're a victim to be poached by another team. That's the other thing you got to worry about.
He came in with a 3-year plan. When he knew he couldn't get who we wanted at QB. I mean, I thought bringing in what's his name was a foolish thing. I won't lie. Right from the get-go, when they said Gardner Minshew was coming, I said that's insane.
Yeah.
And $50 million.
I said this. I don't know if you've watched any of my other shows before, but I said this before too. I said people thought that when we brought Minshew in, they were expecting the guy that played for Indy last year.
Yeah.
Well, you weren't going to get that guy because for many reasons. One, he had an offensive line. He had a running back with one of the best running backs in the league in Taylor.
Yeah.
He had a coach that knew how to use him right.
Yep.
He came in as a backup, so he had nothing to lose. So he went out there and he was playing gunslinger and had fun last year.
He played with,
totally different. You come here to the Raiders, our offensive line was trash. We had no running game.
Right.
As one of the guys I go on the shows with, Leo says, we got catfished by Zeus, the running back, Samir White.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that we saw towards the end of the year last year made us look great, made him look great. And then the start of the season, he's bulked up. He's going to do great things. Yeah. He was horrible. The offensive line, it just, he had no shot.
Colton Miller started off the season really bad.
He was injured too. So he's got a problem with his left shoulder.
Yeah, he did. He had the shoulder thing going on. And in the beginning of the year, I felt bad watching him. I got to be honest,
Yeah.
But once he got that figured out and turned around,
he still had. If you watch him on pass protections, when he doesn't bring that left arm up as fast as he usually used to, because it's still tender, and it will be until the season's over and he gets some rest on.
100%. Yeah, no, for sure.
But is he still a candidate?
We all knew, he had that injury with his shoulder. And it was sad to watch him, and I remember, but you can see he's getting back, right? He's still going to be that cornerstone, that kind of guy. And I know the guy mentioned in one of the remarks that they probably will, they might move Howard Johnson to a center. I mean, they could.
Well, they're going to have to put him back at center because that's where he's excelled. He's only been on left guard right now because they had to put James back in. Yeah, James is the weak point. Him and Parham are the weak points on that offensive line.
Yeah, they are for sure. I mean, no doubt. Listen, everybody knows football is one at the line, offensive line, defensive line. Those two have to be really strong. Or if you can't get to the quarterback and people can get to your quarterback, you're in trouble. It's that simple. Okay, if you cannot get to the opposing quarterback with your defensive line, you're screwed. If people can get to your quarterback because your offensive line is garbage, you're in trouble. So yes, the strength is there. That's where you got to lock that stuff up. So we need, for sure, help there. So when we talk about free agent help, like you mentioned, a guard, yes, or draft guard, yes. We have 5 to 6 positions where we really need help on, and you got to go get them through draft, free agency, or develop what we have and hope this kid Merritt maybe fits in that box somewhere. When Paul Johnson moves over to center. There's a lot.
Sound like you said Howard Johnson's.
Howard Johnson.
I'm waiting for the orange roof to show up. What do you mean, Howard Johnson?
No, Howard Johnson.
Some people here watching this don't even know what the hell we're talking about.
But no, I mean, hey, look. Every year, I know we say this, and next year's the year. We're gonna fill these pieces. We're gonna do this.
I ain't saying that this year.
Yeah, I've said it way too many years myself. I've looked at it and I've said, oh, you know what? That's a good fit. This is going to happen. But if this, in your head, you start thinking, oh, if we can do that, because you want your team to win, right? So you start dreaming almost about, oh, that player, that's going to be a good fit. This kid, And when it doesn't happen, like, I want to know what happened to Hunter Renfrow. You know, the guy catches 100 balls for us 1 year.
Still a free agent out there.
I mean, all these
Still sitting
injuries
out
in
there.
the NFL. I mean, wide receivers.
McDaniels didn't like him. McDaniels just didn't like him.
Nobody in the NFL likes the guy.
I guess not. I don't get it, but
it's crazy. You would have thought Carr would have made a phone call when he's losing wide receivers in New Orleans and said, "Hey, I threw 100 balls to this guy."
He made sure Foster Moreau came down there right away, though.
Yeah, I know. Right, and I love Foster.
And look at that. I mean, it's turned out good for Foster. I mean, he's getting more use down there than he did up here.
Oh, I love Foster Moreau, by the way. But
I do too. I liked him when he was up here. He just never got a fair deal.
But I don't know how, with all the injuries in the NFL, Hunter Renfrow still hasn't gotten a phone call.
Yeah, exactly. I don't get that one.
It's, you know, I talk about that with my son all the time. I go, man, that guy caught 100 balls. That guy was like, at one point, they were like, wow, he's going to be one of the best slot receivers. You know,
and like, we all thought that.
Right. He was just zigzagging in the middle and boom.
Went right in the shitter after that.
And,
well, he got injured too. I mean, he was injuries.
No, last year, all of a sudden, the first game, I knew something was up when they just stopped throwing to the kid. I was like, what the hell happened? I'm like, he's running around the middle and doing all this shit. And I said, throw him a pass. Jesus Christ. So, anyway,
McDaniels just didn't like him. And you know what? I thought he would have excelled in McDaniels' offensive system because he reminded me so much of Wes Welker and Amendola. You know, those smaller style guys that come across the middle and just throw their body on the line every time. Because that's what he was doing even before McDumdum took over. You know, that's what he was doing for us.
Shit, even
and I just thought he would have excelled him.
You know, he
just didn't work out.
Yeah. So I'm shocked that guy, you know, I mean, switching gears, but anyway, hasn't, with all these injuries to all these players, no one's called his name. I don't know, it's because we still owe him money and they don't want to have to worry about picking that. I don't know what the hell's going on. But honestly, if we don't, some team should have been on. We should have been on him. Shit.
Yeah.
We should have called him back. I mean, hell, we were broken for a while.
Look at this right here. Someone just answered. Renfro's selling car insurance in Carolina now. Is that legit, Arnie, or are you just busting balls? Because I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, these guys have got to do something because, I mean, he didn't sign a huge contract with us.
No.
You know, unless he invested the money right.
I mean, it's just...
But imagine that.
In any case,
you go from the top wide receiver in the NFL to selling Geico insurance in North Carolina.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So I mean, look, I'm sure he's happy whatever the hell he's doing, but he's one of those guys that you just look at and you go, he could be happy doing anything, you know. And I'm hoping he is. Let's put it that way, you know. So, but anyway, I do have to wrap up because I do have to catch up with some things. Listen, man.
All right, well, I thank you for coming on. You got any last things you want to say? You got anything special going on? I don't know if
you know, I mean, I want to see our team finish strong. That's what I really want to do. Like this last game, everybody go out there, give it their all. Try to win the game. You know, I hated when people were saying tank. What football player, like, you know, let's think about it. That's not your job, and then like, don't rescue that person in the room. You know, what are you, nuts?
Yeah.
You know, it's like when I was in the military. No, hey, look, you know, you can't. What? You're out of your mind. I'm not. You know, these guys are playing for their contracts. They're playing for their lives. You know, the coaches the same way, and they want to tank for players. Like, and I never understood that as a Raider fan that you want your team to tank. I'm not that guy. I want every week. I sit on that couch and scream and yell, "Let's go, let's go, let's go!" You know, all right, that draft position moves down. It is what it is. But I want us to finish out the season strong, not just for AP, but for the team, for us, Raider, you know, fans.
Yep.
And I want to see what some of these players have to bring back next year, or not come back next year. Let's just see it. You know, that's what I want to see going forward.
I want to win.
We'll see.
I agree.
Me too. Dude, I love winning. I don't like losing. I don't care. I can't stand it. kidding me? Losing, man. I'm upset. No. No. I mean, I'm screaming, I'm yelling, losing my shit. I want my team to win, damn it.
Yeah. Well, I will be in touch with you. Maybe I'll get you on again soon because this was fun. This was good. I love it when
I loved it.
I get someone on that's kind of like on the same mindset as I am with the current roster, the way the team's going. So I appreciate you giving up your hour or 5 minutes to be on here with me. I really appreciate it.
You got it, brother, man. Anytime, man. Anytime I have the time, I'm with you. Peace.
You stay safe, brother. Take care.
All right. Be good.
All right, everybody. That was Frank Melo, one of our club members. He's been in the club for a long time, and like we said earlier, he's been a lifelong Raiders fan, just like myself. Been around for a long time, through the good and through the bad. Lately, obviously, more bad than good compared to what we're going through now. So, I don't know if anyone has any other questions. Arnie, busting balls, concussion. Yeah, it's a shame too with him that he brings that up. You kind of forget about it, Renfro, now, how good he was for this team in the time that he was here with us. I mean, he basically was just like watching Brock Bowers now. You could catch anything thrown anywhere near him. It sucks to see a guy with talent like that just, not be it anymore. But as far as, let's see, so we've got this week coming up. They finally announced the schedule last night after the game was over on Sunday Night Football. So we will be playing at 4:25 p.m. at home against the Chargers, and the rumor has it the Chargers are going to be sitting their starters. Looks like KC is also going to be doing the same thing, so Denver really has a legit shot to beat KC if they're sitting everybody. I'm even hearing Detroit's going to possibly sit everybody, because it doesn't matter if Detroit wins or loses this game. Everything still comes down to the last game of the season next week for them against Minnesota. So like tonight's game that they're playing, there's a chance they may sit people. So, which sucks for anybody that's playing in a fantasy football championship, because you're going to lose players tonight on the Detroit side, that's for sure. I know I'm playing my wife this week, but she's already beat me, but she's got golf, so he might not even play. But so I think I'm gonna call it quits for the night here. So I thank everybody for tuning in. All your comments, I appreciate them, and I'll see you all on, I think we're still going to do it Thursday night for the Raider Connection with Cheeto Lannis, myself, Jay from Just Raiders Baby, and LV Raider 10. We'll be discussing the game coming up next week against the Chargers. And that's 10 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern time. We're still not sure when we're going to get back to doing our coast-to-coast show, because the holidays really messed everything up. Friday nights are just tough to do because there's so many other shows on Friday nights. Can't do it Wednesday night because it is New Year's Day, so a lot of people still on around. So once we get past the holidays, we'll have the schedule. We'll have to rework what we're doing for everything. Starting a week from this Wednesday, though, the Raiders Connection should be going back on to Wednesday nights again, which is where we were prior to the holidays. Just that right now we're having to move them to Thursdays because the holidays falling on Wednesdays. So until then, everybody stay safe, stay positive, and go Raiders. And Happy New Year.